if you bought something and it was 5% of your portfolio and then it became 95%, you are now rich. But if you just start off with the 95% in the best business, how are we going to get rich? What I'm trying to say is that now so we just talked about that we cannot tell in advance which ones are going to do well. What you're doing is you're taking a yesterday's winner, you're putting everything into yesterday's winner and saying that yesterday's winner is going to be tomorrow's winner. That's effectively what you're saying, right? Because what I'm saying is we know that Amazon is great, right? And we put everything into Amazon today. It could work. The way I'm wired, I wouldn't be able to make that bet because I wouldn't be able to get the conviction. It would be easier for someone like me with my wiring to go and make 10 or 15 bets where each one looks undervalued, looks like a good business, looks like all the pieces are in place, and then let it play out.
But even if you're, say, wired to have that conviction and you're well for that one position, does it still make sense to follow that approach? Like, say, take the example that Frank invested $100,000 into Amazon 20 years ago, and now he has $10 million.
Yeah.
And I'm investing in Amazon today, and I have $10 million. So we're both at kind of at single point in time putting $10 million into Amazon. Are you saying that would be still an optimal strategy for Frank because he has the conviction built up over time, but it wouldn't be optimal for me?
Well, the one chink in the armor I see for Frank, sorry to make you a guinea pig, Frank. One chink in the armor that I have is that I prefer the Nick Sleep approach where I don't have one bet, right? I mean, so the Walton family took the approach of one bet. Nick Sleep took the approach of 3 bets, right? And one of those 3 bets effectively is an index kind of bet, like Berkshire is like an S&P type bet. So it's very difficult to see something like Berkshire going. But if, let's say Frank has 10 million, and let's say Frank has 5 million in the S&P 500 and 5 million in Amazon, and he goes to sleep, I think that's fine. Even though the S&P probably overvalued whatever else right now, it's okay. I think he's not going to go back to zero. You know, like Munger says, I don't want to go back to Go again. I've been at Go. I know what Go feels like. I don't want to go back to Go again. So in his case, the 5 million each is a very comfortable situation to be in because no matter what happens, he's fine. He's still got the second 5 million if something happens to Amazon. The 95.5 with 9.5 million in Amazon. Now I need to have a lot of conviction in Amazon, whereas he doesn't. Whatever happens to Amazon is irrelevant to him, but it will be very relevant to you. So I think that's where some of this. So what I would say is that the all eggs in one basket is a little extreme for me, at least. I mean, the Waltons have done that. Steve Ballmer has done that. Many people have done that. You know, Elon is doing that to some extent, though he's trying to spread it out a little bit. So if you just change it from the 1 bet to maybe 2 bets, where the second bet is a little bit more resilient, like a Berkshire and S&P, then I think you can totally relax. But some people can be totally relaxed, like the Walton family with the single bet, because they maybe have an understanding of Walmart that goes way beyond what I can understand. But these are valid questions. I'm not sure I'm giving you the right answer, but just telling you what I can process. So, yeah.
Another way of putting like George's question is that Frank puts $100,000 in 10 stocks. Amazon is one of them, sleeps for 20 years, is now 95% of the portfolio. Shouldn't he look for another 10 stocks and sleep for another 20 years? Rebalance the portfolio at that. I mean,
the title of the presentation was "You Only Need to Get Rich Once." We're already rich. He doesn't want to work anymore. He just wants to lay back and relax, right? I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate. What I'm just trying to say is that if I look at a Berkshire or any of these successful entrepreneurs, they end up in the end, you end up concentrated, right? What you're saying is, let's now restart. We've run this thing through, let's redo, right? Let's play the game another 20 years with new bets. And that can be very valid. That can work out. But we also have a couple of things to keep in mind. One is we have finite lifetimes, right? At some point we pass away or whatever else. It may take you 20, 30, 40 years to get to that point. If you are focused on staying rich, then I don't know how much sense it would make to take the whole thing and do 10 more bets. Because if you buy into the law that 95% of what you think is going to do extremely well is not going to do as well as you think, and you already have one goose that's laying a lot of golden eggs, why kill the goose? The next goose may not lay any eggs. But, nothing ventured, nothing gained.